Hey, this is Tellman again, and I wasn't going to originally do this video. I'm actually in Arizona right now, and this is the second video I did standing in the very spot. I was just talking with Harris Feldman. There's Harris's hand. He actually convinced me to do this. He was like, dude, if you don't do this video now, then you're not going to do it. And he was absolutely right. So I decided to do it. We were in the hot tub earlier, which kind of is a little weird, but whatever. We were in the jacuzzi earlier, just chatting, and somehow this topic came up. And it is about the topic that you may find a little bit, some people may be offended, so I'm not going to swear or anything like that, but if you're easily offended by the topic of sex, I recommend that you immediately just stop watching this video. But I promise you that if you don't stop watching the video, if you watch it through to the end, you're going to learn something very valuable that will immediately help you. One of the biggest questions that I get all the time is, how do you stay so motivated? How do you work so hard? How do you get so much work done? And I don't normally have an answer to this question. We were talking about I don't even know what brought up the topic, but there's this concept called the art of sex transmutation. Now, it being worded that way, in modern English, it probably would be the art of sexual transmutation. And we're not talking about any STDs or anything like that. We're talking about something much more powerful and much more profound and much less damaging. The idea of sexual transmutation, I first heard about in Think and Grow Rich, which Harris reminded me of when we were talking. And it's actually chapter 11 of Think and Grow Rich. If you don't own a copy, I want to let you know that if you put in your name and email address at the end of this video at fromtellman.com. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you should go to fromtellman.com. If you are on fromtellman.com, wait until the end of the video. If you put in your name and email just to the right, I will go ahead and give you this special chapter, chapter 11, called The Art of Sex Transmutation, which essentially goes over the following. The idea here is that sex is a primal driving force in humankind. And what Napoleon Hill discovered was that the most successful, he uses the term men, but really the most successful people in the world, time and time and time and time again, also happen to have extremely high sexual desires. Now, this isn't going to take a turn for the worse. The idea is that they have extremely high sexual desires, and in many cases, their motivation to have such drive in their business to accumulate wealth, to make money, actually comes from wanting to do something for a woman. Now, of course, it can work the other way, especially in this day and age, which is wonderful on the internet and with business, how both men and women are on an equal playing field when it comes to making money online and being entrepreneurs. But when that book was written, women had a harder time with it. Most of the highly successful millionaires and multimillionaires of the time were men. And when we talk about the art of sex transmutation, what we're talking about is people will do almost anything for sex. I mean, think about it. They will risk humiliation. They will be extraordinarily persistent. They will lie. They will spend incredible amounts of money. I mean, people will do insane things in order to get sex, especially once they're in the mood and their mind is locked onto it. It's almost an insatiable desire for people throughout history. And the interesting thing about sex is the art of sexual transmutation talks about the principle of going from having that intense tunnel vision that you want when you feel the need for sex, when you're aroused, and to focus that in and transmute that desire into whatever it is you are trying to accomplish in your life. The desire for sex is by far one of the strongest desires, I would say the strongest desire, not only of humanity, but the desire to reproduce is built into all living creatures. And if you can take that desire to reproduce, that desire for sex, and learn to hone, learn to refine your ability to channel that into a new way, you can literally learn how to flip a switch in your head and have unbridled amounts of motivation, enthusiasm, and energy. It doesn't matter what kind of shape you're in. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter who you are. None of these things matter. Because when you are passionate and locked down and driven to accomplish something, nothing will stand in your way. You will go to the ends of the earth to make this happen. But it has to do with taking that innate ability that you have to essentially become obsessed with something like sex. It doesn't have to be sex. You can have this in other areas of your life too, and learn to simply shift the flow of energy. It's kind of like rerouting water going through a river. Just shift it a little bit to go into a different direction, and bam, you just have an incredible amount of force moving forward that can allow you to accomplish almost anything. If you pair this up with this concept that we talked about in the last video, then you simply become unstoppable. When we talk about setting a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal, something huge, and you plug that into taking what you desire most in life and rerouting that into your business, rerouting that into what you're working on online, you no longer listen to criticism from your peers. You no longer get frustrated or get depressed when your website doesn't look the way you want to, and you feel like you're banging your head up against a wall while you're learning how to do HTML or learning a web page. You no longer, frustration doesn't come into the picture. You might feel it, you might experience it, but it will not stop you. It will not when you master the art of sex transmutation. And what I'd like to remind you of is I'm going to give you that chapter. If you put in your name and email, just to the right, I'm going to give you chapter 11 of Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. So I highly recommend that you go ahead and do that. If you already own it, I would recommend that you read the chapter again. But either way, read chapter 11. It will tune you in and give you essentially insurmountable energy. You will become an unstoppable force of accomplishment in what you're trying to do with your business. You will no longer have to justify yourself to anyone. You will become absolutely, unquestionably unstoppable. And I would say that that's really been my secret, is I've learned the art of rerouting enthusiasm, rerouting energy. I inadvertently taught myself the art of sex transmutation, and as a result, I simply don't stop. I'm never satiated, and I keep on going forever. And everything I try to do in my business, there's no limit to what I can accomplish in my mind. I wake up in the morning, and it's all about moving forward, accomplishing great things. I hope that you accomplish great things. Opt in to get that chapter. I think you'll get a lot out of it. This is Tellman Knudson. Overcome everything.